Welcome back. It's another Creaky Bloody Gamers battle report. Let's get on with it.
Okay, welcome to another battle report. It has been a long time since my last Warhammer Old World battle report. I have been distracted by other things, but I made it to Winter Warfare, another Old Hammer tournament, and this was the army restrictions, was 2,000 points, but we weren't allowed to take any more than 25% in characters. So I decided to take my Tomb Kings. They've taken my dragons away, and so Kiefer Tep's going to be on his chariot, and the Hierophant will be on his horse. These are some pictures from round one. I ran around just the beginning of round one, and just so you could see some of the armies. So you can see probably the armies are a little bit bigger, maybe Bretonnians. There's some happy campers there. But they don't look that much different, just there's the absence of dragons. There were still a few dragons. I did face a Dark Elf dragon in round 3. That'll be spoiler alert coming up. And they were using the Renegade factions. I haven't really read the Renegade stuff. I think it's just some house rules that they have adopted. Well, maybe I'm just waiting for Games Workshop to do something about the legacy factions and so on. But people enjoyed it. They wanted to try different things with their old armies, so why not? So the Renegade factions were allowed. And you notice on each table there were 2 towers. So the first scenario, there was 2 towers. You had a unit strength 10 to go in the tower, and this is my army. So there's Kiefer Tep on his chariot. He's just got a great weapon and the icon of rulership and talisman of protection. So nothing over the top really. And he's in a unit of 5 chariots with the icon of Rakaf, a couple of scorpions and some Ushabti with great bows. So because my last list, I've lost my dragon, so I had to fill the points somewhere. So I just put these Ushabti in there with the great bows. I think that's probably worse to face than the dragon, I think. I don't know. But they did okay sometimes. Sometimes they're a bit of a liability because they're 300 odd points. My 2 Necro Sphinxes and my 2 Scorpions and 35 archers. And the Hierophant, he's downgraded to a horse now. He's a level 4, and he's just going to take Necromancy, which is probably hindsight here. I shouldn't have taken Necromancy. I've been using Necromancy with my vampires, so I'm really enjoying it with my vampires, but not with Tomb Kings. Better off with something else, anything else beside Necromancy, I think. So there's mighty Kiefer Tep on his chariot. So, bit of a step down to get onto his chariot, but he is immune to killing blow on the chariot. I wish I'd given him maybe the armour of ages or something, just to make him a bit tougher. He's a bit squishy on the chariot, even though he's not too bad, but he's not going to be going and taking on dragons and things, or ogre tyrants and etc. So he's just skirting around on his chariot. And there's the other Necrosphinx. A couple of the scenarios you needed banners, so I had to put banners on my horse archers again. Bit of a waste of points normally. In this scenario, I've got one little unit of 9 skeleton skirmishing bowmen. And there's another shot of a couple of armies here. The pink dragon there. I get to face the pink dragon in round 3. So that's a Dark Elf dragon, one of the few dragons that were there. But there was great unclean ones and steam tanks, etc. So they were sort of having a field day. And nice towers there on that battlefield. And some wood elves. And this is my first opponent. So I'm playing Ogres. And he's got a big tyrant, so he spent his 25% on characters on the single tyrant with his 10 Derizer, etc. Ogre Bulls, 2 units of Mornfang Cavalry, some Thunder Tusk Riders, etc. A big unit of Iron Guts in the middle. There's some Yetis, he had a couple of units of Yetis, Mornfang Cavalry on this flank, and some more Mornfang Cavalry on the other flank. So there are these fast options, and he's got a few options to go in and take the tower. He's got a small unit of Ogre Bulls and a couple of units of Yetis. There's the Thunder Tusk Riders in the middle with the Iron Guts. And out on the other flank are the Mornfang Cavalry, and he's got some Ogre Bulls there, which are going to run over the hill and try and get into the tower to get him some victory points, and some Saber Tusks hiding behind the tower there. So that's the first round versus Ogres, so I don't really want to fight that Ogre Tyrant. So when he put the Tyrant down on his big Thunder Tusk or whatever it is with his Tenderizer, I avoided him. We'll have to avoid him because I just can't go toe to toe. There's the scenario. If you occupy a tower, you get 2 battle points at the end of the game. So occupying a tower, so if you can get 4 battle points or 2, anyway. My guys aren't going to be going into the towers. I don't really have the units that can go and hold a tower. So I'm just going to be trying to stop the Ogres from getting into the tower. And he's got 3 units that can probably go into the tower. And I've got 1 little unit of skeleton skirmishers. So it's not looking good that way. So there's the other Mornfang Cavalry out on his right flank. He's got his Ogre Bulls there hiding behind the hill from my shooting. And they're going to try and run over and get into that tower. And then he's got a strong centre, strong left flank for him with the Tyrant and the Mornfang Cavalry. So we'll see how we go. Now, they've limited me to only 25% characters for everybody. So I've lost my Tomb King on his dragon, so he's just going to be on the chariot. So my plan is to, well, let him have the towers if he wants them, and I'll shoot him with the Ushabti and my poison archers there. And I just want to send something, a scorpion or something, just to try and distract his tyrant. And Kiefertep has deployed way out on this left flank, so he's going to take on those Mornfang Cavalry. Spoiler alert here, he does take them on, and I actually give the Mornfang Cavalry a charge, which I think was a bit of a mistake, but that'll come up in turn 1, I think. And this is after Vanguard moves. I've moved my 2 Scorpions up. So this one's just moved up here, just out of charge range of those Mornfang Cav. And I'm hoping to entice him forward, maybe. And my other Scorpion vanguarded forward in front of his scouting Yetis. So he's put him there. I assume he's probably going to go into the tower. But if he does, he'll probably get shot.
Let's go. Turn 1.
Okay, well, we'll have a look at turn 1 here. And this is after my turn 1. So I've just sort of moved the Necrosphinxes up to threaten. Haven't committed anything here, but this is where I made a bit of a mistake. I vanguarded that Scorpion up and he got in the way. With the Icon of Rakaf, I was able to reform the chariots out, but I've left them in charge range of the Mornfang Cavalry. I didn't charge the Scorpion here into the Yetis. I just wanted to just keep them at bay for now. And then maybe I can get a Necrosphinx into their flank or something later on. And so the Necrosphinxes definitely don't want to go into the front of any unit, the Iron Guts especially. He does offer me up some charges later on, but I think the Necrosphinxes are good, but they really need to hit flanks. They can't be going in taking things head on unless you get really desperate. And so I've left this charge here on the left flank. I stuffed her up and I couldn't move the chariots back in the reserve move because the Scorpion was in the way. So I've given him a long bomb charge with the Mornfang Cavalry. So we'll see if he's going to take it. Yeah, so that's that long charge there. The Scorpion just moved up and just to block them and keep those Yetis away from my skeleton archers, because I know they'll probably blend through my archers pretty quickly. So I want to keep him away from my Hierophant. That's the key to victory facing Tomb Kings. And yeah, that's that long charge there, which he needs a 17-inch charge or something. So he needs 10 on the dice. And here we go. I filmed the charge. There we are. He gets a 4 and a 6 there. So he's got that charge off. And so they're going to go crunch into my chariots. So that's a big combat there. And this is a bit of a mistake, I think, because he does roll really bad. I think I did one wound on the way in. He's just manoeuvring other units about the place here. But that combat there is pretty telling, and he does roll really bad. So he ends up winning the combat and pushing me back again. And I kill one of his Mournfang, and he takes out a couple of chariots, even after all his bad rolling. So I got lucky there.
Turn 2.
Okay, so in turn 2, I've just hopped that Necrosphinx over the top there to threaten the Iron Guts. He doesn't want to take them on head on or anything, and he doesn't charge the Scorpion, I don't think, or he couldn't charge on turn 1 because the Yeti scouted, which I forgot all about. And then this combat here, the Kiefertep on his chariot is going to finish off those Mournfang cavalry. So I was lucky to hang on there, I think. He rolled really bad, and I was able to come back and kill them. And then over on the right flank, he has hesitated a bit with his Mournfang cavalry. He's kept them back. And his Tyrant, he's waiting for this Necrosphinx to come in. And that's going to be sort of like the problem for the Ogres is they didn't commit on this flank, because they only had one Necrosphinx and some Horse Archers and a Scorpion out there. If he had come forward and been more positive on this flank, he could have swept around, because I don't think, even though the Necrosphinx does have a Monster Slayer, it's a bit of luck to get it off. He used initiative 1, so the Tyrant might have been going before him or something. Anyway, it's a bit of a standoff on this flank, which I think is key to the battle, because I want to keep that Tyrant and the those Mournfang cavalry out of the picture for a while.
Turn 3.
Okay, well, into turn 3, I forgot to mention that his Thunder Tusk riders moved up here, and they were shot off the table by the Ushabti over a couple of turns. Took a couple of turns to get rid of him, and his little hounds are moving around there. Kiefertep has finished off the Mournfang cavalry, but there's only one chariot left. He's taken 2 wounds, and my Will Be Done is up there. I think I went for weapon skill, and the standoff continues in the middle. I'm just trying to threaten flanks or find a good charge with one of the Necrosphinxes, and I think his Yetis are going to come in there. I've shot one, and then he's just going to double charge that Scorpion. So I'm just using the Scorpion to block them in there at the moment. And there's Kiefertep. He's lost all his chariots except the Champion is still there. He's taken 1 wound on the Champion. The other dice is just my Will Be Done. And those Ogre Bulls are going to just run over the hill towards the tower. So double Yeti charge in here on my Scorpion. He finishes off the Scorpion and then decides to set up some traps to try and get my Necrosphinx to come in and commit somewhere, but I don't want to go anywhere near the Tyrant with his Tenderizer with any of my Necrosphinxes, so I just sacrificed the Scorpion on that flank.
Turn 4.
Okay, so we're into turn 4, and Kiefertep on his chariot with his lone chariot is trying to run down those ogres who are going to run and get into the building, into the tower there. So they're going to hold that tower shortly, for a little short time, I mean, because the Ushabti are going to get rid of them. The Iron Guts are trying to tempt one of the Necrosphinxes to charge them, but they probably make short work of a Necrosphinx. I might kill a couple of them if I'm lucky, maybe. We're killing blow, you never know, you can roll 6s. His Yetis go in here and kill my little unit of skeleton skirmishers with warbows. So they go in there and kill them off. And his Mournfang just moved down that direction, and I end up chasing after them with one of the Necrosphinxes. But I'm not going to go into them and then get stuck. And then the Tyrant comes in. So Kiefertep and his Iron Guts are in the middle there. His little saber tusks come in and fight some of my skeleton horse archers, and the horse archers over a couple of turns will kill them. But we're just still trying to avoid. Oh, yeah, his Yetis. There's the Yetis. They're awesome Yetis. They came in to make short work of those skeleton skirmishers, as they would. Then they ran off the table and they came back on. I think they might have survived the battle, those Yetis. So they're pretty good units, Yetis, I think. There's his Tyrant. His Tyrant's trying to get hold of one of the Necrosphinxes so he can kill it. But I'm not taking any bait or charging. He's offered the rear of the Iron Guts and so on. Offered the front, the flank, the rear, if I wanted to go into the Iron Guts. But the Necrosphinx, I would have just been giving up a couple of 100 points if I did that. And that's pretty much the end of the game. I bring the Chariots back and try and start healing them. There's his Mournfang, who's just going to keep wheeling around. And his Tyrant on the big thing isn't going to get hold of anybody. And so my archers here are just peppering the Iron Guts. By that stage, my opponent's getting very frustrated that he's not getting any charges off. And I'm not committing or not falling for any traps with the Necrosphinxes. So we call the game about there somewhere. So his Tyrant is not going to get a charge off. Kiefertep's way out there on his Chariot. I should have given him something better, a better weapon or something. Then maybe he could go in there with a chance to take on the Tyrant. No, probably not. Probably not. He just had a great weapon and a Talisman of Protection. The Tenderizer would have made short work of him, I think, with stomps and everything. So it ends up being like a narrow victory to the Tomb Kings, like 12-8 or something like that. Nobody got any extra points for the towers. And that was pretty much the end of the game. So we called it about there because he wasn't going to get to charge anyone. And his Yetis did pretty well, but I finished off one unit. He killed a Scorpion and some skeleton skirmishers, I think. And he killed most of my unit of Chariots, although I was starting to heal them up. Those Mournfang, they could have, if they rolled better, they might have actually taken out all of the Chariots, but Kiefertep swung into those Mournfang and killed them. His Yetis did pretty well, got rid of that Scorpion, but the Scorpion did his job, distracting them for a while. And I didn't commit. The Necrosphinxes didn't even strike a blow this game. It was just mainly the shooting and scooting around, trying to avoid the Tyrant. So I don't really blame my opponent getting frustrated. But he probably should have just sent the Tyrant and the Iron Guts, everything just straight towards my skeleton archers with the Hierophant in there. And then I would have had to commit some other troops there, I think. Anyway, that's 2020 hindsight, isn't it? So a narrow victory to the Tomb Kings over the Ogres. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Well, that was different. Yep, lousy, but different.